Forget, again, I say this and I mean this, take the name and the person out of the equation.
That's
This
simple. Call him
behaviour,
Mr. A. Call him Mr. A.
Yeah,
Stand up in Parliament and say there is a person with a civil conviction in a Category B prison that is being denied access to friends, family, which all the other prisoners are. He's got very limited food. He's in segregation. I mean, what? A person, an individual, forget who it is.
Locked away 21 hours a day, no human contact, no fresh air, no escape. This is Tommy Robinson's reality inside HM Prison Woodhill. His voice recently emerged in an audio message, exposing the grim conditions. Confined to a tiny cell, cut off from the world, this isn't just harsh treatment, it's a breakdown in the making. Long-term isolation leads to severe anxiety, paranoia, and even hallucinations. The body weakens too. Muscle loss, high blood pressure, and sleep issues set in. This isn't just control, it's destruction.
Is the fact that it's Tommy. We need to take the name out of this equation. It has nothing to do with the name Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
This is about basic law, basic human rights, and the treatment of a prisoner. No other prisoner in this country is being treated in this fashion as far as I'm aware. I'm not aware of a civil prisoner who is in solitary confinement 21 hours a day, having to eat bags of crisps and tin tuna to stay alive, and being denied access to their family and
Prison officials claim this is for his safety, but is that really true? Or is it about silencing him? The more he speaks out, the harsher his conditions become. What's really happening here? And why does it seem like someone wants to see him break? Prime Minister Keir Starmer has taken a strong stance against Tommy Robinson and his supporters. In a recent statement, he criticized Robinson's followers, emphasizing that Robinson's actions nearly disrupted a grooming case. He warned of the dangers of supporting figures with such controversial behavior. But regardless of how he's portrayed, he still has basic human rights. Yet he's being treated worse than child killers and mass murderers. No matter who you are, that's just wrong. Starmer's statement has sparked mixed reactions. Some applaud his stand against far-right elements, seeing it as necessary. Meanwhile, figures like Elon Musk have spoken out against Starmer's stance, calling for Robinson's release and accusing the Prime Minister of mishandling the issue. Musk's comments have fueled debate, drawing both support and criticism.
Get rid of it, right? In the respect that if this was anyone else, and God forbid, dare I say, if this was someone of another religion, the whole house will be standing up, hearing and cheering and booing and doing whatever they had to do. There will be full front page news on every newspaper that we're the most rotten country in the world and this person should have their rights. What about Tommy?
Starmer's stance reflects a commitment to countering far-right ideologies, aiming to separate mainstream politics from extremist influences. His approach reinforces democratic values and upholds the rule of law, positioning his leadership against divisive elements in society. After releasing an audio message from prison, Tommy Robinson faced immediate consequences. Prison authorities blocked his access to the canteen, preventing him from purchasing essential food items. This has raised concerns about his well-being, as it limits his ability to supplement standard prison meals. These actions appear to be punitive, likely aimed at deterring unauthorized communications. By restricting privileges, officials may be trying to maintain control and prevent the spread of unapproved information.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote.
Prison policies often impose penalties for unauthorized communication, but their severity varies. While some facilities restrict phone or visitation rights, denying access to basic necessities like food is rare and raises ethical concerns. Currently incarcerated, Tommy Robinson reports severe food restrictions by prison authorities. He claims he was banned from ordering food for a week, cutting off his main sources of nutrition, tin tuna and mackerel. According to him, this punishment was enforced simply for speaking to his son during a phone call.
I'm telling you, I know how I feel. I feel different. I know I'm only 2 months in.
So why am I still being held in solitary confinement? Why am I not in a DCAT prison? And there's a mental health team there. I said, let me just ask you, is this good for me? She said, no. I said, how bad is it? Because I know how bad it is because I remember what happened last time. So I said, so why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And I'm a civil offender, so I got 18 months, which is insane anyway, for playing a film that they said wasn't in the public's interest. Well, I think it's on 115 million views. It certainly was in the public.
The effects of enforced hunger are severe. Physically, poor nutrition leads to weakness, immune deficiencies, and other health issues. Psychologically, hunger causes stress, anxiety, and a deep sense of helplessness, which can seriously impact an inmate's mental health. Prison officials have not publicly addressed these allegations. While prisons do impose sanctions for rule violations, restricting food access as punishment is rare and raises ethical concerns about inmate treatment and human rights standards.
When exactly did starvation punishment become UK prison policy?
Tommy Robinson's family was eagerly awaiting a scheduled visit, initially approved by the prison governor. However, just before the meeting, higher authorities intervened, abruptly cancelling it without explanation. This sudden decision left Robinson and his family distressed and confused. Family visits are crucial for the emotional well-being of inmates, helping reduce loneliness and depression. For loved ones, especially children, these visits strengthen bonds and provide reassurance. The unexpected cancellation not only deepens Robinson's isolation but also causes emotional pain for his family, who rely on these moments for connection.
I wrote a letter to my wife, and it was a detailing letter. Yeah.
You alright? It's alright. This is a letter to your wife from prison. What did you say?
To make sure they understood why I do what I do. And it's me believing that the worst will come.
That you will die in jail.
The worst will come, and I want my children to know that I haven't,
The lack of transparency behind the revoked visit raises concerns. While security reasons are often cited, failing to provide a clear explanation fuels mistrust and speculation. This highlights the fine line between maintaining prison security and respecting the rights and emotional well-being of inmates and their families. Tommy Robinson's imprisonment has sparked debate over free speech and state regulation. Supporters see his incarceration as suppression of dissenting views, while critics argue his actions, including contempt of court and defamation, crossed legal boundaries meant to protect individuals and the judicial process.
At this point, I know what they're going to do. Yeah. I believe they're going to do, and that I know no one can tell me why I was brought to that prison only. Yeah. No one can tell me. So I know intentionally, and previously I've been locked in rooms with Muslims in prison. So I believe that. And then in that first week in the block, I'd then been told I'm getting moved, and I said to my wife, I'm getting moved, but nothing from the outcry outside, from Lord Pearson, who's a lawyer in this UK, making comments to make sure I'm safe. I knew that nothing had been done to.
Cases like Redmond Bate v. DPP have reinforced the right to free speech, even when offensive or provocative. The court upheld the right to express lawful opinions, highlighting that free speech includes the right to offend. However, legal boundaries exist when speech infringes on others' rights or disrupts public order. Robinson's case has intensified the debate over free expression and legal enforcement. Some view his treatment as necessary for upholding the law, while others see it as suppressing dissent. The discussion underscores the challenge of balancing individual freedoms with societal order. The term, political prisoner, applies to those jailed for their beliefs. Supporters argue Robinson's imprisonment is politically motivated, while critics maintain it stems from legal violations like contempt of court rather than persecution.
In my mind whatsoever, that the king knows exactly who Tommy Robinson is. Prince William will know exactly who he is. And you would think that they would look at one of their subjects. You've only got to look in the passport. His Majesty requires this, that and the other for all of his subjects.
Yeah.
Well, this subject is basically being tortured.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forget, again, I say this and I mean this, take the name and the person out of the equation.
That's
this
it.
behaviour.
Call him Mr. A. Call him Mr. A.
Yeah,
Stand up in Parliament and say there is a person with a civil conviction in a Category B prison that is being denied access to friends, family, which all the other prisoners are. He's got very limited food. He's in segregation. I mean, what a person, an individual, forget who it is that right?
Labeling Robinson as a political prisoner carries weighty implications. It could shift public perception, increasing support for his cause. Legally, it might prompt calls for better treatment or even release. However, without concrete evidence of political motives behind his imprisonment, this classification remains debated. Currently serving an 18-month sentence for contempt of court, Robinson claims he faced penalties after a phone call with his son was abruptly cut off. He alleges authorities then blocked his family's number, severing communication. UK prison guidelines generally allow inmates to contact approved family members, with monitored calls permitted during association periods. However, misuse, such as unauthorized contact or rule violations, can lead to disciplinary measures like phone restrictions or removing numbers from an inmate's contact list.
You have to understand, if you're in a car and you are reckless with the car and it injures someone, you're responsible for your actions. If you're online, it's an online platform, and you're reckless with your actions, then you should be held responsible for it.
Donald Trump is killing, thousands of Americans by giving them duff advice and his macho, I'm all right.
Prison policies aim to balance security with inmates' rights to maintain family ties. While sanctions for rule violations are permitted, they must remain fair and proportionate. In Robinson's case, the complete blockage of his family's number raises concerns about whether the response was justified and its impact on his right to family life. As Prime Minister, Keir Starmer influences national policies, including criminal justice. However, prison conditions fall under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Justice and His Majesty's Prison Service. No evidence suggests Starmer directly intervened in Robinson's incarceration conditions.
Thank you. I don't offer you the gimmicks or unfunded promises that Rishi Sunak does. I don't pretend there's a magic wand that will fix everything overnight. Instead, I offer a practical, common-sense plan to change Britain. This election is about who our country works for. The simple, patriotic belief that Britain can be better and must be better. Imagine how you would feel waking up on July the 5th to 5 more years of the Conservatives. 5 more years of decline and division. The arsonists handed back the matches. Now imagine turning the page with a Labour government that rolls up its sleeves and gets on with the job, that puts the country back in your service. The choice at this election is clear. More chaos with the Conservatives, or the chance to rebuild Britain with a changed Labour Party.
The UK's legal framework ensures a clear separation between political leadership and judicial processes, preventing political interference in legal matters. While the Prime Minister shapes national policies, prison operations and inmate treatment are handled independently by justice authorities. In summary, although Keir Starmer oversees governance, no evidence suggests his direct involvement in Tommy Robinson's imprisonment conditions. This separation preserves the integrity and impartiality of the UK's legal system.